First off, let me just start off by saying I miss Star Wars on the big screen. I recently rewatched Revenge of the Sith. You know, they re-released it for the 20th anniversary. And I miss Star Wars, man. Good stories, a clear focus, nice space battles, lightsabers that actually kill people. I just want Star Wars on the big screen again. I mean, unless it's Rise of Skywalker, fan fiction, course correct quality, you know, that you can keep to yourself. But if it ain't that, I want to see Star Wars on the big screen again. And I don't mean Mandalorian, I'm talking about Sith and Jedi. I want to see those on the big screen again. But one thing, rewatching Revenge of the Sith just made me realize the importance of having a vision. You know, say what you want about the prequel trilogy, the dialogue was cheesy, you know, knockoff Shakespearean, the acting was so forced, the action was just over choreographed, the editing was choppy. You know, say whatever you want about the prequels, and I'm not even going to argue with you. But one thing you can't deny is that George Lucas had a clear vision. I mean, the execution may not have been the best, but there was definitely a purpose and a clear story he wanted to tell. There was purpose behind it. And that's more than you can say about the modern money grab, clout chasing Star Wars. Palpatine somehow returned.
Well, that's just lazy writing.
But that got me thinking even deeper. You know, I think that's the philosophy that applies to life in general. When you start something, you should always have a purpose and a vision. You know, don't just chase something for the money because you've seen others making a profit off of it and you want a piece of the pie. I mean, don't get me wrong. If you're passionate about something and see others making money from it, it's fine to want a piece of that, but at least have an end goal, at least have some sort of a roadmap. You know, when The Force Awakens came out, when they were making this new sequel trilogy, Kathleen Kennedy hired J.J. Abrams, Rian Johnson, Colin Trevorrow. Did Lucasfilm have a clear roadmap? No, she told all three of them, do whatever you want, without even sitting the three of them down together. And Disney, they just saw that Star Wars could be profitable. All they saw was the money. They didn't figure out how to tell good stories, and they didn't think long term. And that's also what they call delayed gratification. I mean, look at Star Wars. Short term, it was incredible. I mean, The Force Awakens came out, everyone loved it. It made over $2 billion, the highest grossing domestic film of all time. But they didn't have a clear roadmap, and guess where the sequel trilogy ended up? It ended up with Rise of Skywalker just barely crossing the $1 billion mark. Which, I mean, is still a shit ton of money, but it made half of what the first movie in the sequel trilogy made. If that's not the law of diminishing returns, then I don't know what is. And, you know, that also has a life lesson behind it. You always have to have a vision and at least some sort of an end goal when you start an endeavor. You don't just think about what's going to benefit you the most in the short term. Think about what's going to benefit you the most in the long term. You can make better decisions that way as well. If you have a clear goal, you have end goals in mind, you can think about what decisions to make. Is this going to help me move closer towards my goals, or is it going to be a hindrance? That's how the people that are successful make decisions. They had a clear roadmap. They had a clear goal. They knew what they were driving towards. They didn't have everything figured out. Sure, nobody has everything figured out, but they had a roadmap. They had a goal, and look where it got them. And that's why delayed gratification is better. You know, thinking about long-term goals and what steps to take to further reach your goals, not which ones will be better in the short term, but in the long term. But anyways, I think I've droned on long enough about this for now. Those are just some of the thoughts I had after rewatching Revenge of the Sith and thinking about Star Wars, where it currently is, and the sequel trilogy and whatnot. And I really hope people do learn from the mistakes of Star Wars. Being short-sighted and wanting immediate gratification may feel better in the short term, and it may feel better in the moment, but in the long run, it's just gonna crumble. Anyways, that's about all for now. Peace.